Hello and welcome to our UNLV Online Education webinar, The Basics of Blackboard Learn, an overview of the tools in Blackboard. I'm Kevin Wilcoxon, your moderator, and our presenter today is Mr. Kody Stimpson, also an instructional designer here at UNLV.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. I'm just going to run through a quick agenda of the topics we're going to cover. We're going to discuss a little bit the course navigation of an online education course. We have a master template that I'm going to briefly go over. I'll go over using the content collection, creating and editing an item in Blackboard Learn or a folder, learning modules, creating an assignment or an assessment, such as a test, creating a discussion, blog, journal, or a wiki. We'll talk about some of the communication tools that are available and go over a little bit in the Grade Center. And as you view this webinar, keep in mind that we also are offering access to a course, a Blackboard course. It's actually called The Basics of Blackboard Learn. And when you log into Blackboard Learn, you'll have access to that course. You'll see it on the right side of your screen. You can click on it and go in, and there will be specific tutorials that will cover all of what we're going over, but it'll also give you even more information on these topics. So if something's not covered, check out that area. And there's also a few other resources that we have available that I'll mention at the end. But so with that, I'm going to do the majority of this presentation using the share feature, which will be sharing part of my screen. So you should be seeing this UNLV Web Campus pilot course. This is the typical format of an online ed Blackboard Learn course. You see there's the demonstration banner, typical banner in the course. And by default, when you log into the course, you see the announcements page. And over here to the left, we have these basic links that are in most of the online ed courses now. The first one is Let's Get Started, where there's some text here where you may have a link to your course syllabus and schedule, as well as some setup links. There's a link to the calendar. We'll discuss that a little bit more later. And then I mentioned there's the announcements page. All of the learning modules are here, so the content for each module will appear here, and I'll actually go into that in more detail in a few minutes. But this is where students come, where the content is, the discussions and assignments and assessments can all be linked inside these modules. Next, we have the discussions. You can see by default there are 3 discussions in the course, and then obviously the instructors will create additional discussions. Next, we have different communication tools. There's a variety of different options, and I'm going to talk about these as we go along as well. We have the My Grades link, and then a link for additional resources. In this, since it's a demo course, there aren't any, but a lot of times courses might have extra resources you want to put in. And then there's a page that's called Student Support, and this is where students can find the academic advising, the Academic Success Center, bookstore, the DRC, and a variety of other support resources that are available to students. So, I also want to go over the course management options, and on the bottom left you see this gray box. You can see there is the content collection here, where all of the course files are located. This one in particular, this course is called Kody Test Course, so if I were to click this, I'd go in there, and I'm going to go over the content collection today. The next option is Course Tools. This lists all of the different tools that are available. You can, make them available or unavailable to students. Evaluation is where you go to run course reports and check out the dashboard. It'll give you some statistics on when they're logging in and what areas of the course they're looking at. We have the Grade Center, and you can see in this particular course I have an assignment and a test, so you see assignments and tests. You can filter by that. You can view the whole Grade Center, or you can just check out the particulars that of the assignments that need grading at that point. You can set up groups and users, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. You can customize the course in this area. Packages and utilities, as if you wanted to import a course cartridge or import course files from a different course. And then, of course, there's a help option here. So this is just a basic orientation of what your course looks like. Now let's go ahead and start learning how to do a few things. I'm bringing you to the Let's Get Started page. And here we have, this is what Blackboard calls an item. And if this were your course and you were wanting to, put text in here or link to your syllabus, you'd want to select the drop-down menu and select Edit. And now you see the content editor here shows you a lot of the same things that you might see in Word, and then there's also additional options. So for example, if I wanted to type in this text box, I can obviously type in it. If I wanted to italicize or underline, I have these options up here, similar to Word. But then down here, this is if I wanted to create a hyperlink, this Earth. So for example, if I wanted to put a link to CNN, I can select that text and click this world here, and then it asks for the website. Click Submit, and now I have a link. And as you look at Blackboard Learn, whether it's a folder or an assignment or an item, you're going to have a similar look. These same features are available to edit any item in Blackboard, as well as assignments and folders and different things like that. So once you know which of these tools you want to use, you'll know how to use it throughout. There's obviously font color changes. Another thing you may want to do is attach a file in here. So for this one, you see how I have course syllabus. I'm going to want to attach that to the course syllabus. Okay, so to do that, I click on that little paper with a paper clip, and I get this screen, and it's going to ask me if I want to browse my computer or go to the content collection. I'd like to show you the content collection, so I'm going to go ahead and browse the content collection. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for us. Now the content collection is the course files that you're using in the course. You can see I already have several folders and I have some files in here. Your course obviously is going to vary, but for example in Module 1, I don't have any files in here yet. So if I want to upload a file from my computer, I just click Upload and Upload Files. I browse the computer, and then here's a folder. And let's say I want to upload this image and these two documents. Okay, you have to pick whichever one you want to upload. And in this case, I'm going to do the PDF of my syllabus, and then click Submit. Now you can see the syllabus is there. Once it's in the content collection, I can do that again if I want to upload additional files, which in this case I do. It's a good idea to upload a .doc version of your syllabus as well as the PDF, so that next semester you can just download that .doc version and edit it. But to link for students, I'm linking to the PDF version. I click Submit. This is the name of the link to the file. You can keep that there, or you can do, whatever you want to put here. And there it is. Now it's linked to that item in the content collection. Let's say I want to insert an image. I'm just going to come down here since we're playing around. You see this little square here? If you hover over it, it says Attach Image. So if I click that, again, I can browse from my computer or the content collection. It's a good idea to use the content collection because if you have all of your files organized nicely in there, it makes it so much easier for updating rather than just browsing your computer and throwing it up into the system. So again, I have my Module 1, and here I have these two files. I'm going to upload some more files here, and in this case, I'm going to upload this picture. I click Submit, and there's the image. So I'm going to select that image, click Submit. And then click Submit. Sometimes you have to click Submit a few times. And here's the image, and you can see how it's huge. You can make it smaller if you notice there's a tiny little square on the bottom left. You can select that, and from the bottom left to drag it up to the top right, and it'll shrink the picture down. Now what this doesn't do is shrink the file size. So if this image were huge, as far as a high quality, long to download image, it would still be the same even though I've shrunk the visual size of it. So you want to keep that in mind. So here you can see I've created a link, I've attached the text to a particular file, and then here I've added an image. There's a variety of other things that you can play around here. You can attach videos and audio clips, even some Flash will attach in there, and you can play around with it. If you are into using HTML, you can toggle the HTML source view by clicking the brackets over here that will show you the HTML view. And then when you're happy with it, go ahead and click Submit. And now here you can see my links are ready to go, and I have an image. So as I mentioned before, the same way that we edit this item is the way that you would edit other things. Let me show you. If you wanted to create a new item, you could come over here and click under Build Content, Item. And now here, once again, you see that same view, and you can go ahead and title this item whatever you like. Let's say you wanted to create a folder. Notice over here under New Page, Content Folder. You could title the folder, and again, you have these same options here. So once you get used to using these options in Blackboard, you'll find that you can take that with whatever you're doing. Okay, the next thing I'd like to go over with you is the learning modules. Here I have a sample learning module that was created from another course and slightly modified for this demo. When I click on this, I'm going to turn off edit mode. And edit mode at the top right, when edit mode is on, it is instructor view, course builder view. When it's off, it is student view. So it looks a little bit different. So from a student, when I click on learning modules, I go inside this learning module, and then up comes the first file that I have in here. I can click on these different items. I have an assignment linked in here. And then I also have, it's wanting me to submit this assignment, but then I also have a discussion here as well. Learning modules are great in Blackboard because you can structure the content in a way that students know exactly what items you want them to complete in order to do well in the course. So if you have your modules organized around topics that are being presented, then you can have your overview, and a lot of times we call it the learning module guide at the top. It's kind of like a checklist. It tells them what needs to be done for that module in order to get credit, the readings and learning activities, followed by additional links and videos and assignments and discussions and everything else inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on edit mode so that I can start editing it, because like I said, right now I'm in student view. Once I click that edit mode, now I have some additional options. So I have a sample assignment and a sample test here. If I wanted to build content, again, I could click Create Item and create an item, which is this option that says M3 Blackboard Learn Tutorials. That's an item created. Again, I could create a folder. Or over here, under Assessments, we have a few different options. First, I'm going to show you how to create an assignment. Under Assessments, you click Assignment, and then you name it, and give it a good descriptive name. In this case, I'm being very basic. Now here you can type in the instructions to your assignment, which might be write a 300-word essay on, whatever it may be. You can scroll down and notice that you can browse the content collection or your computer for additional files, and you can attach points to this assignment. Notice there's also rubrics that are available. Rubrics are easy to create, and I think it just snapped the screen a little bit, so it's a little bit bigger. But the nice thing about rubrics are you can set them up for all of your assignments or just specific assignments, and you'll notice there's different headings along the top here. You can make each item worth a certain percentage of the overall grade, so that when it comes time to grade these, it gets much easier. I'm going to go ahead and click Cancel so that we get out of that. But if you're interested in learning about rubrics, there are tutorials in the Basics of Blackboard Learn course, and you can learn more. But that's where you'd add or attach a rubric. There's also availability options. You can change the number of amounts that students can take the test. If you want them just to have one shot at it, allow single attempt, unlimited, or a specific number of attempts. Now, next, I'm going to talk a little bit about availability. You can limit the availability of assignments and tests and items and folders in Blackboard by checking this box and then selecting, the dates and times for which you want it to be available. Then, notice down here under 5 it says due dates. This can sometimes be confusing because you already limited the availability, so why is this here? Well, it explains here that if you choose to have a due date, then submissions are accepted after this date, but they're marked with late. So if you want that option, then you can check that. And then once you're done, you can click Submit, and it will appear. Notice it says item is not available. It will be available after April 4th because those are the dates that I put in there. So that's how you create an assignment. Similarly, if you want to create a test, under Assessments, you can check Test, Create, name the test, give it a good description, as well as the instructions, and then click Submit. Now here, for tests, there's a variety of different options you can choose from. You can have essay questions, obviously multiple choice, true, false, ordering, short answer. You see there's many different types of questions that you can put in the test. It's always a good idea to use a variety of question types. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and do a multiple choice question. All right, what is the color of the sky? Notice there's a few options down here you can choose from. Number of answers. Just type them in here like I'm doing now. And then select the correct answer. You can have feedback. You can add categories if you're interested. And then click Submit. Oh, question text. Did I not put a question text in there? No, I didn't. I put the question in the question title, but not actually in the question, so there. Now you can see the question. You can also see how many points it's worth. If you want to change that and make it worth, more points or even extra credit, that's where you would click to do that. So you just repeat the process until your test is ready, and then click OK, submit, check your settings. Again, you have those very similar settings to the assignment. It's a little bit different, but like I say, a lot of these things, once you do them once, they kind of carry over. So now I've created this test. Next, I'm going to show you some of the tools that you can use. First, there's discussion board. And as I showed you earlier, you can click the discussion link and you'll see all the discussions. But a lot of times you might want to have a link inside the learning module that links to that discussion like I have here. Once I clicked on that, it brought me right to that forum. So to create a discussion, under Tools, you select Discussion Board. You'll see the discussions that are already available in there, and if you wanted to link to them, that's all you do and you'd be done. But if you want to create a new forum, you click Create New Forum. And then you put in your description, which is the prompt, discuss, whatever it is that you want. Make it available, or if you want it to display at different times. Now under here, there's different forum settings. There's more tutorials, again, available on this. But for now, I'm just going to mention that you can make this gradable by clicking Grade Discussion Forum, and then however many points you want it to be graded, or to be worth. You can even attach a rubric. Once I'm done, I click Submit. And then Next, Submit. Seems repetitive, I know, but now, lo and behold, it is here. So inside this learning module, in just a few minutes, I've created an assignment, a test, and a discussion. Next, I'll show you how to create a blog. Again, under Tools, I select Blogs, and I'm going to create a new blog. And if this were a real course, I would use a nice descriptive name for the blog, but for this is all I'm going to do. Again, you put the instructions, check the availability, and then you can make it gradable again. So I like to have the collaborative activities be graded, so I'm making it gradable. Again, you can attach a rubric. If you're interested in more details on the blogs, there are tutorials that go into more of the details on them. But for now, I'm just kind of showing you the raw basics. Journals, very similar to a blog. Has a name. And then, again, you can make it gradable again, just exactly like the blogs. You have to click, and now I have the journal. And now I'm going to show you the wiki. You'll find that this is looking very familiar after we do a couple of these. What are the instructions? The same, restrictions. You can make it gradable. And then click, and click again. So here we have these. So we have a discussion, a blog, a journal, and a wiki. Really quickly, really quickly, I'd like to explain the difference between these 4 items. So a discussion, all of us have possibly gone to a website where they, are discussing different topics. You have a prompt, and then a participant comes in and says, well, I think this about it. And then someone else comes in and says, you know what, you raised a good question. Let me say this. And they go back and forth, chatting about it. It's all done asynchronously. That's the discussion. Now, a blog is more about somebody voicing their opinion on something, and it's not necessarily to discuss it as much as it is to share that information. So like at the end of the unit, you may blog about what your thoughts are now on any given topic. There is comments available so students can comment on it, but unlike a discussion, their goal isn't to necessarily to be discussing things back and forth, but more so post their opinion on whatever that you ended up reporting on your blog. A lot of us go to different blogs and read, blogs about things that interest us, and then we'll comment our, opinion on whatever the blog poster wrote. So you can see how there's a big difference between a discussion and a blog. Next, there's a journal. A journal is just between the student and the instructor. When you think back to maybe English class where they had you sit down and kind of just, brainstorm and write out different things and just share that with the instructor. It was just between you and the instructor. And that's what that is. So you'll know the difference between the blog and the journal. Now the wiki is kind of a different beast of its own. The wiki is, if you've ever used Google Docs, it is similar to that, but it allows groups of students to collaborate on a single document where there can be like a report, and student A types a few things in there, and then student B comes in, looks at it, and makes some modifications, and it changes it to that same document. Then student C may come in, look at it, and say, well, okay, I like that, but I think we should add some pictures. They can add it. And then student D comes in, and they say, oh, let's also add this font and do that. So it works great for collaborative activities where everybody can be working on a single document. So each of these tools are wonderful to use in your course. It just depends on what you're wanting to do. And I always recommend that faculty have a variety of different collaborative activities. You may want a discussion. Later you may want to use a blog. A journal is more student and instructor interaction, but the wiki is great for collaborative activities. So inside this learning module, Module 3 Overview, I have a variety of different learning activities. And when you think about students and trying to make the content of the course understandable and easily organized for them, these learning modules are just great because everything's there, the assignments, the readings, the videos, the links to assignments and assessments and blogs and everything can all be in there. So that is the learning modules. Next, I will mention the communication tools. The link communication shows all of the different tools that are available. And you can see you can either show or hide different items. Now if I hide one of these, it's actually going to hide it for the student in the entire course. So for example, announcements, if I click hide link, the announcements is gone. If I click hide link on calendar, then the calendar tool is no longer available. So you want to check and make sure that things are made available and showing to students as you like. Notice again this edit mode I have on. If I click off, now you can only see the items that I made showing. And let's say I look at the roster. Oh, I don't want them to have the roster. Then if I turn on edit mode, go back to teacher view, and I just click hide link. And now it's hidden. There are a couple things in here that I want to mention that are new in Blackboard Learn. Notice here I have messages But then there's also send email. So let me tell you a little bit about those. In Vista, if you used Vista, they had something that they called email. And Vista's email is actually what they call messages. It's an internal, inside Blackboard communication tool, emailing back and forth, but it's restricted inside Learn. That is messages. Some faculty like to use it. Others want to email using possibly Lotus Notes or Gmail, using whatever the student's personal emails or Rebel Mail and the faculty's email. They can use send email. So you only want to use, generally, you only want to use one of these because you don't want students to be confused and not know whether the email is going to be restricted inside the course or outside the course. So pick whichever one you like and then just try to stick to it. If you do choose send email, then it's going to link to whatever email the student has inside their personal profile. And really quickly at the top here where you see next to my name, Kody Stimpson, I can click on that and I can check my personal information, edit personal information, you see I have my email here. Every student and every instructor would need to check this to make sure that the email is the appropriate email. So I could update it here and then click Submit. So if you choose to use email, then that's just something to keep in mind. So here we are back at messages. Back at communication. So there's messages, internal, send email, external. Now there's also this calendar tool. And we actually have the calendar tool linked here, and then you may have seen it under Let's Get Started. We have it there as well. But if you click on that, you'll see this tool shows today's date, and I can click Create Course Event. Here you can name it whatever you want, and again you see these same options. And what date and the time you want it in here. So you can actually create items of reminders when there's assignments or assessments or tests or other activities going on. You can create them and they will appear in the student's calendar here. Notice you can view by day, week, month, or year. Another tool that is popular among some faculty is groups. Sometimes faculty want to break students up into smaller groups, particularly if you have a large class or if you want them to do group projects. There are a variety of tutorials that are available that will go into the details of groups because there's a lot of different options you can do. But here, if you wanted to create a group, you click Create Single Group, and then you choose Self-Enroll or Manual Enroll. Self-Enroll allows students to enroll themselves in a particular group. So normally you might have like 4 groups in a course, and then they would self-enroll. Or you can manually, enroll them however you want. So I'm going to choose that one for this option. And you can name your groups much more descriptive. Again, I'm using just this basic. Now here, this is where you could have specific blogs, collaboration activities, discussion boards, emails, all of these different options that are particular to that group. And then when you click Submit, it would create a group that would have its own discussions and activities and things for that group to work on. So if you're interested in groups, there's quite a bit to that tool, and there are more tutorials on that. Now looking back over here to the left, we've talked about the Let's Get Started and the items here, how you can edit it using the content editor. We've talked about the announcements in the learning modules and how to create different learning activities. including discussions. We've just gone over the communication. And to end, we're just going to talk a little bit about grades. Now, from a teacher perspective, you come down here to Grade Center. I'm going to click Full Grade Center, and you'll see all the different items that are available in this class. You can see the discussion and the blog and journal and wiki and all those assignments that I just created. They now appear in here. Now, since this is a demo course, there isn't a student in here, but if there were, their name, last and first name would appear here. So as they submit items or assignments, then you could look here and see that they've submitted something and something needs to be graded. So there's more tutorials also on the Grade Center that you can check out in the Basics of Blackboard Learn course to learn more about the Grade Center. But one thing I did want to show you is if you wanted to create a column, a new gradebook item, you simply just click that and you name it whatever you want it to be named and give it a description. You can even add a rubric. I'm going to click Cancel. But a lot of times you won't really need to do that, because if you're creating a discussion, it'll ask you, do you want it to be graded? Yes. Great. It'll put it in there automatically. Are you creating an assignment or a test? Great. It'll put it in there automatically. So usually you don't need to create a column. The only reason why you might want to create one would be if you had like an outside assignment or something that you didn't use the assignment or assessment tool or something, but you wanted to have a grade for it. And then this other option I wanted to show you is under Create Calculated Column. If you wanted to create a total column, for example, at the end of the semester, or throughout the course, if you want students to know exactly where they're at, then you can create a total column, and you can select specific items, gradebook items, that it will, it'll keep in mind how many points those are worth. And then down here it says calculate as running total. A running total only includes items that have grades or attempts. Selecting no includes all items in the calculations, using a value of 0 for an item if there is no grade. So keep that in mind. If a student doesn't submit an assignment, that really should be worth a 0. It shouldn't be, and it's due. It should be 0. It should be counting against them in their grade. So I often select no because they've got a 0 on it, and then submit. But again, there are more tutorials on this in the Blackboard Learn course. So I hope that gave you at least a brief introduction to Blackboard Learn and some of the tools that you'll be using as an instructor. The next thing I'd like to show you, if I can find my screen over here. Kevin, would you mind bringing us back to the PowerPoint slide? Thank you. It disappeared on mine, so I couldn't quite find it. So, oops. Okay. So I wanted to talk about additional assistance you have. I mentioned that there's the Basics of Blackboard Learn course that you have available when you log in to Learn. That's a great place to go because all the tutorials in there were tailored. They're links to outside sources, but we considered UNLV faculty and their needs when we put that course together. There's also lynda.com, and I'm going to share in the text area a link that you can click on if you're interested in going to Lynda. Lynda.com is available for all UNLV faculty and staff, and you can learn everything you ever wanted to know about Blackboard Learn by watching their training options. Next, as you can tell, UNLV Office of Online Ed is offering professional development opportunities. These webinars are available. If you click this link, it'll take you to our webinar page. There's also, for face-to-face faculty, they can go to the Faculty Collaboratory, which is online.unlv.edu. Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually, the Collaboratory is, that's our UNLV website. The Faculty Collaboratory is fc.unlv.edu. That's for face-to-face faculty if they're having trouble with Web Campus and they want additional support. They can attend that Collaboratory and get their questions answered. In addition to that, of course, there's OIT. You can call them. There's their number for OIT. And if you're teaching an online or a hybrid course, you can contact your instructional designer. And we, of course, are found at online.unlv.edu, like I posted up above. So each of these links will provide you some of the additional assistance as you continue to learn Blackboard. And last, before we close, I would just like to share this link that lists all of the tutorials that are currently available from the Basics of Blackboard Learn course. So if there's a particular part of this presentation that you wanted to go to find out more, go ahead and click on this link and you will see that those options are available. So if you want to find out more, you can check out our website or any of these options. One other thing I wanted to mention was if you are interested in having an online or hybrid course developed, if you go to our website and click Faculty Course Development, you'll see that our development process and procedures have been updated. And you will see that there is a form you can fill out, have your chair or head or dean of the department sign that, and then send it in, and then we'll be able to work with you and develop high-quality online courses. So with that, I realize we flew right through many different topics, but I wanted to check to see if there are any questions. And it looks like there are no questions at this time. So with that, thank you so much for coming, and I'll pass it back over to Kevin.
Thank you, Kody. Very informative. As Kody mentioned, this is recorded and will be available as a recorded webinar, and he gave you the address. If you'd like to give us some feedback, here's the location, and I'll type that in the chat simply because you can't copy it from the slide, but you can copy it from the discussion. So I'm going to put that in there.
I typed it in there, Kevin.
Oops. Okay. Well, there it is again. All right. Well, thank you, Kody. Very informative, and we hope that you will take advantage of all the resources that we have available for you as we transition to Blackboard Learn. Thank you again. One more thing, I guess. Yes. No. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. Just one more thing. I realized when I was